by 2. Today we're going to be talking about adding and subtracting fractions. So we've been talking about fractions, we've been talking about the least common multiple and stuff like that. We're going to put that together and make this lesson. Alright, so basically there are two main terms we need to talk about. First of all, like fractions. Like fractions are fractions with the same denominators. So an example would be like 2/5 and 4/5. They're like because the denominators are the same. Unlike fractions are the opposite. They're fractions with different denominators, like 3/4 and 5/8. So basically, the denominators tell you if it's like or not. So if they're alike, then it's like. If they're not, then it's not. Alright, so basically, in order to add and subtract, you need to get like denominators. So if they aren't like denominators, you need to make them like denominators. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's look at example number 1. We have 1/6 plus 3/6. Good thing I noticed that the denominators are the same. So we don't have to do anything except for add and simplify. So 1 plus 3 is going to give you 4/6. And now let's go ahead and simplify. So I know I could take out a 2 out of both. Remember, do the same to the numerator that you do to the denominator because we're going to keep it balanced. Because this is how we're going to keep our fraction equivalent. So 4 divided by 2 gives you 2. 6 divided by 2 gives you 3. This is in simplest form. We're good. Alright, let's go ahead and do example number 2. We have 3/7 minus 1/7. Good thing I noticed the denominators are the same. So one less step for me. Okay, I'm going to do 3 minus 1, which is going to leave me with 2/7. Now 7 is prime and 2 is prime, so we can't take anything else out. Alright, let's go ahead and do 8/9 minus 2/3. I notice my denominators are not the same. So, always look at your smallest denominator first. So in this case, 3 is my smallest denominator. And see, can 3 times something give me 9? Because that's kind of the quicker way. So you only want to have to do one fraction if you can. So just try to do one. So 3 can go into 9. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply both the numerator and the denominator by 3 to get a new equivalent fraction which has a like denominator to this one. So I'm going to rewrite my fraction just to keep my work nice and neat so I can keep everything organized. So minus, because I got to carry down my correct sign. And then 2 times 3 gives you 6. 3 times 3 gives you 9. So now we're ready to go ahead and work. So 8 minus 6 is going to give you 2/9. So that is your final answer. Alright, let's go ahead and look at 5/6 minus 3/8. I know that my denominators are not the same. I'm going to look at my smaller 1/6. Can I do 6 times something to give me 8? No. So we're going to have to change both fractions. But that's okay because we've already studied these skills. So we're going to go ahead and list the multiples of 6 and 8. Now the good thing is that you might know it off the top of your head. You can also do it in different ways, but like using the factor tree. We could use that prime factorization to get the least common multiple, however way you want to do it. Right now I'm just going to list the multiples because I know that it's kind of close. So we have 6, 12, 18, 24, ... This one we have 8, 16, 24. Alright, I see 24 is my least common denominator. So I'm going to go ahead and make both of these numbers 24. So I have to think, 6 times what gives me 24? 6 times 4 gives me 24, so I also have to multiply the numerator by 4. Okay, 8 times what gives me 24? 8 times 3, so I'm going to have to do the numerator times 3 as well. So now, my suggestion, rewrite it down here because you don't want to make a mistake because you just didn't read your problem right. So if you do the work right, you want it to pay off. So let's go ahead and do 4 times 5, which gives you 20/24, minus 3 times 3, which gives you 9/24. So now we need to go ahead and do 20 minus 9, which is going to leave you with 11/24, and that is simplified. Alright, let's look at number 5. We have 7/8 plus 3/4. So my first thing I'm going to do is look at my denominators. I realize that they're not the same, so these are both unlike fractions, but I want to make them like fractions. So I'm going to look at my smallest one, our smallest denominator, which is 4. Does 4 times something give you 8? Yes, 4 times 2. So I only have to work with one fraction here. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply by 2, multiply by 2. So I'm going to rewrite to avoid mistakes. So we have 7/8 plus 3 times 2 gives you 6 over 4 times 2 gives you 8. So 7 plus 6 is going to leave you with 13 over 8. Now you can leave it like this or you can write it as a mixed number. So we could do 13 divided by 8. How many times does 8 go into 13? It goes in one time. So minus 8, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We're going to have 5. You could have in 5/8. You could do 1 and 5/8 that way. Or you could just leave it like this, is fine. Alright, let's go ahead and look at our last example. Now in this example, we are going to be reading a pie chart and using data from a survey to answer a question. Okay? So it says survey results. We have a little pie chart here, and now let's go ahead and read our question to see what part of our pie chart are we going to be focusing on. So it says, what fraction more of the students chose deli sandwich over a burger? So we're dealing with burgers and deli sandwiches. And we're looking for the fraction more. So anytime you see that word more, you're going to figure out, well, how much more does it take to get from one to the other? In order to find that, we're going to have to subtract. So it's saying that there's more people choosing deli sandwich than they are choosing a burger. So we're going to figure out, subtract the burger fraction from the deli fraction. So right here we look on our chart and we see that here's the deli sandwiches. That's 3/25. It might be small for you to see, but it's here and it says 3/25. So we have 3/25 minus our burger, which is 1/10. So minus 1/10. So now we need to go ahead and look at our two fractions. So we've read our question, we've looked at our data, we've come up with the correct equation that we need to solve. So now let's go ahead and solve it. So we're going to go ahead and get these denominators to the same. So we have 25 and we have 10. Now the more you do this, the quicker it's going to come off the top of your head. But in my head I know that 25 times 2 gives me 50. And 50 ends in a 0, so 10 goes into 50. So I'm going to go ahead and make both my denominators 50. So I'm going to multiply by 2, both the numerator and the denominator, because we want to keep our fractions equivalent. So 3 times 2 gives you 6. 25 times 2 gives me 50. Now I'm going to go ahead and figure out, how do I get 10 to 50? I need to multiply by 5. Multiply by 5, both the numerator and the denominator, to keep equivalent fractions. 1 times 5 gives me 5. 10 times 5 gives me 50. Now I'm going to carry down my sign, which is subtracting. So basically, all we have to do now is subtract the numerators. 6 minus 5 gives you 1. So our answer is 1/50. Alright? Okay, make sure you've watched the whole video from beginning to end. If you have any questions, go back in your book. Try to figure it out yourself so that you can learn the problem on your own, just to develop those skills. But as always, please bring questions to class to me so I can answer them. I do not mind at all. Now let's go ahead and look at your on-your-own question. Alright, you have 5 problems to do for me. Go ahead, get the denominators the same to make the fractions like fractions, and go ahead and add or subtract to get your answer. Good luck, let's see what you get tomorrow.